I think it's important that people speak to their own elected representatives, to their own councillors, and tell them that, you know, as it says on these bits of paper, Dundee welcomes refugees. I think right across the council there should be support for that. I'm sure there will be, but I think it's important that people, you know, make that case and tell their elected representatives that. I think it's good to see people here today, and I think it's important that we keep up the pressure and. Anything that we can do. I know Councillor Leslie Brennan's here as well, but and I'm sure others would be if they could have been. You know, it's important that we keep up the pressure, and I'm sure we'll try and make sure that Dundee does offer a welcome to refugees and do as much as we can in the city. Thanks.
We're gonna stay here. We've said that those that can will stay here to 6. As Richard McCready pointed out, there are a number of people that couldn't make it and want to. There's already a suggestion that there's coordinated action across Scotland on the 12th of September. People should keep their eyes on social media and other sources for details about the 12th of September. There's another couple of people who have indicated they would like to say a few words. We're really happy that people speak. But we're asking that they keep it short so we can involve as many folk as possible. Sarah?
Probably okay. Yeah, I just wanted to say, I don't know if people realise, but the wee lad whose photograph has been all over our front pages, he was from a place called Kobani, which not that long ago was also all over the newspapers. Because Kobani has basically been the Stalingrad of Syria. The people of Kobani have been so bravely fighting against ISIS. But they've not only been fighting against ISIS, in Kobani they have also been, at the same time, even during a war, setting up an alternative, fairer society. And if you don't already know about Kobani and about Rojava, about the Kurdish areas, well, I say Kurdish areas, they are predominantly Kurdish, but what's important about those areas in northern Syria is they're actually setting up a society that's non-sectarian, a society that is based on local democracy. They're really trying to set up an example of a fairer society. So when we look at the Middle East and we despair about what's happening and we say, you know, isn't there somebody that we can support? Isn't there something good that's happening there? Look at Rojava, look at Kobani, and remember what's going on there. Support the people of Kobani as well as the refugees that are coming here. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. We've got it decent going. Next, Mike.
Dispense me the megaphone. One of the folks there says it's a scary situation, and it is scary listening to the racists that were on the telephones this morning, the discussion on Radio Scotland, excusing and attacking those fleeing the situation in the Middle East. Now, on Sunday in Kirkcaldy, there's a march for a fellow called Sheku Bayo, who died at the hands of the police on the 3rd of May. Sheku Bayo was a refugee from Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone, there was an attempted coup by one Mark Thatcher, the rich millionaire son of Margaret Thatcher. Him and his public school mates were trying to get their hands on the mineral wealth of Sierra Leone and prepared to pay money and to bribe some of the most despicable gangsters in order to achieve control of Sierra Leone. And of course, gangsters extract their fees, if you like, through violence. And what we're seeing in the Middle East and what we're seeing in the borders of Europe out there at the east is people legitimately fleeing violence. And it's scary, as you say. Something came to my mind this morning. There's two ways out of this crisis. One of the ways, the reactionary way, is racism and war. And that's what we saw between the First and the Second World Wars. And the other way for me as the communists, as solidarity and socialism. Now you get one version of history, of this country's history, and if you do some digging, you find a completely different version. I was looking at a photograph of some Basque children who were forced to flee the Spanish Civil War in 1936. The British government would not accept the Basque children until there was a public outcry saying that those children were welcome here, and some of them, I believe, settled over the water there. So apart from the fact that it's quite legitimate for those refugees out there on the borders of Europe to seek asylum and to flee the terror there, apart from that fact, it's a dangerous sign of the kind of world that we're moving into. And those who were justifying attacking and taking away the rights of the refugees on the radio this morning, they're undoubtedly on the side of reaction. They're undoubtedly the people who wouldn't even accept Jewish people in this country when they were fleeing the Holocaust. That's the kind of people that we unfortunately have to share our planet with. But here are the folks who are saying something quite different, that it's entirely justified, it's entirely legitimate, it's entirely human that we should say Dundee welcomes refugees. I'm lucky enough to have a spare room in my housing association place up in Fintry there, and on the discussion on the radio this morning there were people putting their money where their mouths were and saying they're prepared to have the refugees in their houses in order to give them someplace safe when they're escaping the terror that they're facing in the Middle East. So everyone here should consider, because you're going to be attacked. We were attacked as radicals and lefties on the radio this morning. You're going to be attacked for your bleeding heart liberalism. So let's show that as well as having a political and a humanitarian aspect, we also have a practical aspect, and take up the offer from the comrades over there at Amina to raise funds and material aid for people fleeing terror and persecution, and also say that we are opening our doors, literally opening the doors of our homes to these refugees. Thank you.
Folks, we're here because of the seriousness of the situation. We're here because we want to stand with the refugees. We want to show them our support and solidarity. We've heard that Fintry welcomes refugees. We're here because Dundee welcomes refugees. People are here because of their moral ideas. People are here because of their religious ideas. People are here because of their political ideas. We're here as Dundonians. We're all saying that Dundee welcomes refugees. We need to speak to our councillors. We need to speak to our church leaders. We need to speak to the folk in the mosques, our MPs, our friends, family and neighbours. We need to spread the word and increase the pressure on those that are unsure. All Dundee should be saying, Dundee welcomes refugees. Folks, we're going to stand here for the next 20 minutes or so. We're going to allow other people to join us, and then we're going to depart. But we're going to depart in the spirit that we continue to organise, we continue to collect aid, and we continue to spread the word. Thank you for being here.
Somebody should say something about the trillion refugees that came to Dundee in the 70s.
I just wanted to tell people that in my own family, I mean, as most of you know, I'm Jewish. My family were already over here, but as well as my aunts and uncles, I had an extra aunt, really. She was ages with my mother, and she came over as a child from Austria, as a Jewish refugee, to stay with my parents' family. And there's a lot of discussion at the moment, you know, there's a lot of people patting themselves on the back and saying how good the UK was to Jewish refugees. But it wasn't that good. It was a real battle to get any refugees here. And, you know, we had the kinder transport because we were accepting children, but we weren't accepting their parents. And my grandfather actually had to battle to get Avi's parents across as well. And in order for her mother to come, she actually had to have a theoretical job as a home help with someone else in the family, because she couldn't just come unless she had a job. So even that sort of stingy, letting some children come, letting some people come if they've got a job, you know, there were an awful lot of people that were said no to at that time, despite all the pressure. So we've just got to keep up the pressure and maximise the number of people that are allowed to come over here.
Thanks again, Sarah. Unless anybody else wants to say anything, we're going to stay here for the next 20 minutes or so, and then we'll depart as a group. Is that good? Thanks, friends.
Focus it.
Men of all colours should be quite nice. Where's it getting a mobile phone? Well dressed. Minded.
You were needed 6 months later. No, that's right. Near Ingles Glen.
No, don't say that.
Besides, during the war, people were evacuated.
They were
Fine.
absolutely.
No, this one I think will enjoy.
Right, filming the dog. Here you.
Is that on local radio?
It was the Radio Scotland phone, and the one that's around the called the I turned around and went
Right.